Yeah, here we go. Turn me up in my headphones. Yeah, look.
You are now flying.
Look. They don't want the smoke, now they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke, now they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke, now they don't want the smoke. Been about the power, you can call me Ghost. I've been in a maze for 7 days. Esau running plays, I left the stage. He ain't got no answers, they killed the Panthers. Now the prophets back and we ain't taking ransom. My leaders fight for vengeance, they gon' marvel when my cap come. And if he got 2 readers, it's just like he busting 2 guns. Y'all falling out for suckers, and that's why y'all look like dum-dums. And if you speak in Hebrew, then just know we finna quan. We Debo, teach your block like Nino. This sheep been lost, we finna fish, I guess we find it Negro. Y'all be faker than placebos, throwing shots like Tebow. And if we ever take a shot, just know that it's a free throw, it's a free throw. They don't want no smoke, nah, they don't want no smoke. They don't want the smoke, nah, they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke, now they don't want the smoke.
All right, so the title of the class, first and foremost, let's introduce ourselves. Officer Halez, Iuic Austin in the building. Who we got right here?
Soldier Nathan, Iuic Austin.
That's right, Soldier Nathan in the building. Let's get it. So the class is called The Turkey and a knife in the turkey and a knife in our back. Thanksgiving. What we like to call Thanksgiving. But I want to use Thanksgiving because I want this to pop up in brothers and sisters' feed in the world. I know they're not spelling Thanksgiving or anything like that. So this will probably pop up in your feed. So hopefully you watch this class and glean something out of it. And why is it that Thanksgiving represents a knife in the turkey and a knife in our back? Why is that? All right, because I know we like to paint the picture as if Thanksgiving is for the family and it's all fun, it's all fun and family and fun-filled as if nothing happened, So what we're doing is when you think about the origin of Thanksgiving, as we would like to say, you think of, we understand the backstory, so understanding the backstory, it's like, oh, okay, so they had a piece of a doo-doo right here, and they just tried to sprinkle some, some colors on it and stuff. But when you get to the bottom of it, what is it? Still doo-doo. And that's what Thanksgiving is. They try to sugarcoat it with the family, friends, and the meals. But to the natives, to those that are indigenous, like myself, to those that are native to this land, like myself, guess what? It is offensive. It's a reminder of the genocide. It's a reminder of the destruction. That's all it is. All right? So let's start with these scriptures. Let's get it. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. Let's get started. Romans chapter 15 and verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So the Lord here is moving the spirit of Paul to inform us that all things written aforetime were written for our learning. Read it one more time.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
They were written for our learning. They're written aforetime, but they're written for us to go back and research them and self-educate ourselves. Read.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Okay? Because unfortunately, us as a people, when it comes to judgment, we say, well, forgive. Forgive. And we understand that. We understand forgiving. So do you think it was okay that they forgave that Kyle Rittenhouse? Is it okay for that to happen? Kyle Rittenhouse, the Caucasian boy that walked around and was killing black people, got off scot-free. We say, oh, but we got to forgive. But when it comes to us, blacks and natives, if we look at the white man the wrong way, we're getting judged. Like Emmett Till, our children. If we steal a candy bar, they're locking us up for 90 years and throwing away the key. Where's the forgiveness when it comes to us? We're so easy to forgive, but when judgment is brought upon us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, guess what? We are not forgiven. We are given the ultimate judgment by our enemies. Why is that? But we always say forgive. No, guess what? When you read the Bible, the comfort and the hope that I have is that our brothers and sisters, the natives, the blacks, the Israelites, the real Jews, justice is coming to America for everything that our enemies have done. And that brings me comfort. That brings me hope. That's what Paul is talking about. Read it one more time.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So now we're going to read the things aforetime that we were not taught in social studies, in history class, things that you were not taught in your colleges, okay? Books that cost hundreds of dollars that you can't rent at your college library. Because what do we have in college libraries? All they have is, when it comes to African American history, it's literally straight 19th century African American history. It's not your real history. Then everything else is European history. Everything else is a history that doesn't belong to you. So here we're going to embrace our true history, our nationality, our laws, our culture. All right, watch this. Give me Job 8:8. Job chapter 8 and verse 8. Now, these things were written for our learning. So we're going to search the scriptures, okay? We're going to study the word of God, and we're going to see what the Bible says, because contrary to popular belief, they said you don't need the Old Testament. Paul just said all scripture is given, these things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So we're going to read what was written aforetime. Contrary to what our pastors say, we don't need to read what was written aforetime. No, the Old Testament was written aforetime, and we're going to dabble with it. Read what you got.
The book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8.
Come on.
For inquire, I pray thee.
He said, for inquire, I pray thee, I beg of you. Come on.
Of the former age.
Of the what?
Of the former age.
Where do you find the former age? You find it in the scriptures, right? Read.
And prepare thyself to search of their fathers.
You see that? We got to prepare to search for our fathers, not the founding fathers that a lot of our people worship and think that Jesus Christ looks like. No, those are not your fathers. These are not our fathers. Our fathers were Geronimo, Red Cloud. Give me some more. Chief Joseph, revolutionaries. These were our fathers that died for our people, that sacrificed their lives for their nation. Our fathers are Isaiah, Nehemiah, Jeremiah, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Christ. These are our forefathers, and they're black unto the ground. They're brown men, just like the natives, just like the so-called Hispanics and the so-called blacks. We are the 12 tribes of Israel because we fit the curses. Okay, let's see what happened on Thanksgiving. As they was putting a knife in a turkey, they was also putting a what? A knife in our back. Let's get that. Deuteronomy chapter 28. All of this is of the Lord. I was at a powwow recently. I was attending a powwow, and I was fortunate and honored to speak with a lot of men that were very well respected in their native communities, okay? And these men had a lot of wisdom. They had a lot of history that they were talking about. These men were from the Apache tribe, the Navajo tribe. They were from the, what's the other one that they mentioned? Apache, Navajo, and Cherokee. primarily. Now, there were others that were from the Incas, because for some reason, some natives forget that we all came here together, all the indigenous, no matter what tribe you claim yourself to be. The Aztecs were there with you. The Mayans were there with us. The Taínos, known as the Caribbean Indians, the Incas, we were all here together. The Native Americans are not the only natives to the Western Hemisphere. You have the Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs. We're all brothers. And we all need to unify in these last days. But as the Israelites, that nationality was taken away from us. And that happened during what? During the 1492 conquest. We lost our heritage. We lost our language. We lost our culture. Okay? And why did we lose it? Because of verse 15. Give me verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Come on.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So now, this powerful book, God is sending a message through Moses to let the 12 tribes of Israel know. You know what's crazy? I'm trying to paint the picture as easy as possible. We all know what happened in Egypt and the slavery and how the Hebrews were the slaves to the Egyptians. But a lot of times, because we've been brainwashed through media, through movies, when we read about Moses here and we read about Moses speaking to the children of Israel, we're thinking about little white people. No, when God opened up the Red Sea to bring us out of Egypt, who was walking through the Red Sea? Native Americans, Apache, Iroquois, Cherokee, Navajo. You were the ones walking through the Red Sea. Incas, Mayas, the Aztecs, Taínos, the natives. We are not Native American. We're actually Native Israel. Native Israelites, not Native Americans. Native Jerusalemites. That's where we're native to. That's our motherland, not here in America. America is only here because this is where we were brought by God to be punished for our sins until the time of restoration. And we're going to read that, but let's get back into scriptures. Read verse 15 again.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Come on.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if we will not listen to what is the voice of God? The voice of God. Let's go back in scripture real quick. Hold that. Get Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 10. Let's see what the voice of God is, because some people are like, God spoke to me yesterday. The voice of God is, I heard something. No, you going crazy. You got a demon on you. Because the Bible will explain to you what his voice is. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 10. Thou shalt therefore obey the voice of the Lord thy God.
By doing what?
And do his commandments.
So if you heard the voice of God, then where are your fringes? Where your border of blue? If God was talking to you, why are you shaving your beard? Because the voice of God would tell you to keep his commandments. Any other voice going on in your head, that's not God. Any other dream or epiphany you think you're having, or somebody talking to you and they're not telling you to keep the commandments, it's not the voice of God. It's something else. All right, so let's go back to Deuteronomy 15.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Come on.
To observe to do all his commandments.
It says it again right there. The voice of God will tell you to observe and to do all the commandments. Not Christianity, not Catholicism, not Islam, not the spirits, not Mother Earth. Because, you know what I'm saying? That when we read Genesis, we read that when God created man, he created Adam first. So we come from a man. We don't come from a woman. Even the woman comes from a man. Thus the word woman, meaning the womb of a man. So let's read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God says that if we didn't observe to do his commandments, that all these curses would come upon us and destroy us as a nation of people. That's what God said would happen. Let's get straight to it. Let's get 49. Let's get verse 49.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49.
Watch this.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee. What happened to the natives that were on this side of the world? The Taínos, not just you Native Americans, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Mayans, all the native tribes. What happened to us? That God said he brought another nation. Read that again.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
From far, because where did they come from? When it was the Taínos, he brought the nation of the Spaniards in 1492, right? And what animal did they represent? They represented an eagle. The Haitians was the French that came over here and colonized them in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. That's the reason why they speak Creole, okay? The natives, it was the English that came over here, Andrew Jackson, and the U.S. Cavalry, okay? What happened? They came over here, and now they were raped, robbed, and murdered just like us in 1492. God said he would bring another nation from the other side of the earth, the eastern hemisphere, Europe. Keep reading.
From the end of the earth.
Come on.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
Hey, can you give me some visual examples real quick for the people that's watching online? Because God just said he would bring a nation from far as swift as the eagle flieth. What nation represents the eagle? Can we get examples of that, please? It says a nation from far as swift as the eagle flieth. What nation was this? Y'all got me, tech team? Go ahead, pull it up. Just pull up Google. Can I see it on my end? See what y'all doing? Okay. We are not a hate group. All right. It says a nation as swift as the eagle flieth. Look at that right there. Scroll up. Matter of fact, right up there where it says U.S. Eagle, do me a favor. Put in New Spain. New Spain. No, take that out. Delete it. And put in New Spain. And put flag. In case y'all didn't know, okay, now see if you find the one, the New Spain flag. You see it right there with the black? There it is right there, yep. That's a new Spanish flag. That's the flag that was given to Mexico. And what is that black bird on that flag? That's an eagle. All right, let's go. Scroll up. Scroll up. No. Scroll up and go to where it says New Spain flag. Let's put in Greek coins. Ancient Greek coins or something like that. Or souvenir, Greek coin, yeah, ancient Greek coins. All right, so a lot of these Greek coins, when you scroll and go through them, the majority of them, go ahead, click on that. What does it have on it? The eagle. Just like today, when you look at your $1 bill, your $5 bill, your $10 bill, your $20, your $100 bill, it has an eagle on the currency. When you look at the flag, it has an eagle on the flag. When you look at your birth certificate, your passport, there's an eagle on there representing that nation that you are subservient to. The Bible is not a coincidence. What Moses is telling us here is not a coincidence. This was written thousands of years ago before those atrocities even happened to us. Let's go back. Deuteronomy. Read verse 49.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. So
this, when you understand the scriptures, you keeping the commandments, we know this is the Americans, the Spaniards, the Greeks, the French, all those Caucasian nations that came and colonized us. We understand that. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
You hear that? Because the natives were speaking Hebrew. I'm going to say that one more time. The natives were speaking Hebrew, and I'm going to prove that. Let's go to that link that I put in the tech team group. Let's get the book first. It's called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries. It says, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Why didn't we understand the language that they spoke? Show them the book, y'all. Come on, tech team. I'm going to need y'all to move quick. We got a lot of information. No, show them the book. We need the book. The gray cover, Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries. Here, just in case y'all can see it here. It's a book. It comes in orange as well. All right, we got a tech team. It's not in there. Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right. Send it again. Bam. All right, there we go. All right, go ahead and post that. All right, you guys got it? You said it's downloading? Read that again one more time so we don't lose the thought. Deuteronomy 28:49.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49.
Come on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. Come on.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Okay, we got it, tech team? Thank you. All right, read that.
Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries.
So, who's the author?
Meyer K. Sellinger.
Kaiserling.
Kaiserling.
So this is a Jewish man. Jewish. Not a Jew. Jewish. Big difference. Okay, meaning not exactly, not the real thing. But they funded the slave trade. They would know the truth behind the whole operation and the whole orchestration of the slave trade, whether it was with the natives or with the blacks. They're going to know all about it. We're going to dig into this book. All right, let's go into that first. Go ahead and give me that first slide where it says Roland's chief argument. Let's read that. Okay, this is written by your friendly neighborhood white man. So for you brothers and sisters think that we're making this up, maybe you might believe in your Lord and Savior Satan, the so-called white man. Read that for me. What page are we on? This is page 23. All right, go ahead, Nathan.
Roland's chief argument in support of his view is the language of the Indians in
Española.
Española
is where? Hispaniola is what used to be known as Haiti, because it wasn't even called the Dominican Republic neither. The whole island was called Haiti. So even you so-called Dominicans are Haitian. The whole island was called Haiti. It wasn't called Hispaniola or the Dominican Republic until the Spaniards came over here. Now there's two tribes living on that island today, the so-called Haitians from the tribe of Levi and the so-called Dominicans from the tribe of Simeon. So that's Hispaniola. That's not talking about Spain. Read.
Cuba, Jamaica, and the adjoining islands. He contends that it has many resemblances to Hebrew.
Okay, so when you see it says Española, so that's what? Haiti and the Dominican Republic today. Cuba, Jamaica, and the adjoining islands. What are those adjoining islands? Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Trinidad, Grenada, St. Lucia, Martinique, Guadeloupe, all these adjoining islands, right? He said he contends that what?
He contends that it has many resemblances to Hebrew.
Wow. So those words, Cuba, Jamaica, these are all Hebrew words. Read.
In fact, he even calls it corrupted Hebrew.
Corrupted Hebrew. Just like today, we corrupt every language that we speak. What does it mean? We add ebonics to it. We add our own flavor to it. The Jamaicans speak English, but they do it with an accent, so it sounds like a corrupted form of English. You see what I'm saying? Patois, the Garifunas. You have when we speak Spanish, we don't speak the same Spanish today that the Spaniards were speaking. Even today, the Spaniards speak a different Spanish than us. We took on their language and forgot about our Hebrew language. And what did we do? We have our own version of it. We added our own twist to the Spanish dialect. Let's read it again.
He contends that it has many resemblances to Hebrew. In fact, he even calls it corrupted Hebrew.
Wow.
He asserts that such names as Cuba and Haiti are Hebrew, and that they were first applied by the earliest
Caciques, which are known as the chiefs, right? These were the leaders, the priests, the pastors. They spoke Hebrew. Cuba, which means fertile land, Cuba. Haiti, which means mountainous land. These are all of Hebrew origin. What in the world were these natives that were living here on the Western Hemisphere? Why were they speaking Hebrew? We're going to get to the bottom of this. Keep reading.
The chiefs or leaders, Kassin, who discovered and peopled the islands. The names of rivers and of persons in use among the natives are derived from the Hebrew.
They're letting you know even the rivers that we named, the country, the states. A lot of the states, the names of the states were changed. But when you read about Idaho, Dakota, give me some more, Iowa, these are all Hebrew words. Just like in when you go to Puerto Rico, you have Humacao, Caguas. You know, Cuba, you have Guantanamo. These are all Hebrew words. We're like, well, they're indigenous. We don't know what they mean. Yeah, because we never searched it out. We never looked it up. But there's proof that these words that we named our lands, our rivers, our sons and daughters, the names that our forefathers had, these are all derived from the Hebrew language. How is that? If we're just little engines and niggers and spicks, how is it that we spoke Hebrew and they never told us anything? We're reading it right here in a white man's book that you were never read in your school system. Let's keep reading.
For example, Hanin, Hana, from the Hebrew. An, stream. Yones from Jonan. Yake from Jacob.
From Jacob, you see, Jacob, go ahead.
Ures from Urias. Siabao from Sabah. Misma. Maisi.
From
Moises.
Moisi.
The names of their tools. Of their little canoes. Or
Kansas.
The name Oxy for pepper.
Oxy for pepper, come on.
The name of the storehouse for maize. Grain. And the like. All point to the Hebrew language.
So maíz is a Spanish word for corn. So for you Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters that speak Spanish, maíz is not Spanish. Maíz is actually Hebrew for corn and grain. They all point to the Hebrew language. This book is written by scholars. It says it all points to the Hebrew language. Let's get their rites and ceremonies. Go to the next one. All you had to do was just click over. Their rites and ceremonies. All right, let's read this.
Their rites and ceremonies, as well as their language, form one of the main arguments in favor of this theory of descent. Circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They often bathed in rivers and streams. They refrained from touching the dead and from tasting blood.
Wow. Hold on. So now it's saying our rites and our ceremonies, meaning our customs and traditions and our language. It says what proves the argument of this favor was that the Indians practiced circumcision. Where did circumcision come from? Where did that come from? Circumcision. Let's get it. Genesis, I believe it's chapter 17. Let me get there with you. I may be wrong. It might be Genesis 17 and 1. It's one of those. Or 15. Yeah, let's get that. Genesis 17 and 9.
The book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 9.
Come on.
And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations.
So when God says you're going to keep this covenant, meaning you're going to make this a tradition, you're going to make this your heritage, your culture. You and your family are going to make this your culture. Read.
Verse 10. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised.
Every man-child shall be circumcised. Where did these Indians get that from? Where did the Cherokee, the Iroquois, the Apache, the Navajo, the Aztec, the Incas, the Taínos, where did these Indians get this custom from? The Bible. Even their rites, their practices, all was derived back from the Hebrew. Pull it back up. Pull that thing back up. Okay, let's read. Let's read it again.
Their rites and ceremonies, as well as their language, form of one of the main arguments in favor of this theory of descent. Circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They have often bathed in rivers and streams. They refrain from touching the dead. And from tasting blood.
And from tasting blood. All right, let's get Leviticus chapter 7, verse 26. Let's get one example. It says that the Indians would not taste blood. So what does that mean? Whenever they cook bison, buffalo, deer, chicken, what have you, they would make sure to cook it thoroughly so that there was no blood in it. Let's read. Let's see where they got this from. Read what you got. Leviticus 7:26. Come on.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 7, verse 26. Moreover, ye shall eat no manner of blood.
You shall what?
Ye shall eat no manner of blood.
Come on.
Whether it be of fowl or of beast, in any of your dwellings.
Keep going.
Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people.
So was it a coincidence that when Columbus came over here and all the Spaniards and even the Americans and the French, when they saw that the natives of this land, because this is talking about all the natives of this land. It wasn't just Native Americans or the Caribbean. It's talking about all the Indians on this side of the world. We did not taste blood. We would make sure to cook our food till it was well done. You think that's a coincidence? No, it's because we are the real Jews. We are the Israelites. Let's pull it up again. So it says, their rites and ceremonies. Read that again.
Their rites and ceremonies, as well as their language, form one of the main arguments in favor of this theory of descent. Circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They often bathed in rivers and streams. They refrained from touching the dead.
They refrained from touching the dead. That's another law. Come on.
And from tasting blood.
Come on.
They had definite fast days.
Hold on. Don't we have, where are those definite fast days found? That sounds like the Day of Atonement to me. That's the Day of Atonement. Let's get that. Leviticus 23. I'm telling you, we are not just Indians, y'all. The word Indian means servant or slave. It is a Latin word for servant or slave. You're not an Indian. You're an Israelite according to the Bible. When they gave you that turkey, they gave you a knife in the back as well because they never taught you your history. You know how I found out in this truth that white people don't love me, Arabs, Chinese, because if any of them that was nice to me, any of them that I had a relationship with in the world, if any of them had any love for me, they would have told me the truth about me being an Israelite. They know who you are. They know you're an Israelite. But that is the one thing they will give you gifts. They will give you food. They will help you when you need some money. They'll come by and fix your tire. They will act like your friend. That's what the enemy does. But one thing they will not agree with is that you are an Israelite according to the Bible. One thing they will not agree with is that Christ is black. They will whitewash your history and say color don't matter. If they love you so much, why didn't they tell you that you're from the tribe of Gad, of the lost 12 tribes of Israel? If your friendly neighborhood white man, white and sister, and all these that you have emotional ties to, why didn't they tell you that the most important truth that someone needs to know is their nationality, who they really are, where they come from, so that they could really start to begin to learn their true history? We're the real Jews, man. We're reading how we kept the Day of Atonement. Read what you got.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 27. Also, on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Okay, come on. So to afflict, what does it mean to afflict your soul? You got that? Jonah chapter 3 and verse 1. Let's see what it means to afflict your soul. Jonah chapter 3. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with verse, let's start with verse 5. I got it. You got it? Jonah chapter 3 and verse 5. It said, you got it? No, it's with the small book. So real quick, I'm going to read this part right here. It says, their rites and ceremonies, as well as their language, form one of the main arguments in favor of the theory of descent. Circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They often bathed in rivers and streams. Now, we know that the Europeans, we heard of Prince Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, they wouldn't shower for days, for years. Matter of fact, I heard Ferdinand didn't shower. He only showered twice for his whole life. But we didn't get down like that. Our forefathers and foremothers was clean. They refrained from touching the dead. They wasn't nasty in tasting the blood. There's a nation that I know that says, I like my meat very rare. That's not you. That's not you, so-called native man, so-called Hispanic and black man. We cook our food. Hey, give it to me well done. They try to call the blood juice when they don't cook it all the way. What the hell is this? We cook our food all the way, Israel. All right? And we had definite fast days. We're going to read about that. So Leviticus 23 was that was a custom and a covenant that God gave with us, our tradition. That was a law and a statute for us and our children. And the Indians, or the so-called Indians, were practicing that. Let's read what it means to afflict your soul. Verse 5.
The book of Jonah, chapter 3, verse 5. So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them even to the least of them.
All right, I'll jump to 7.
Verse 7. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock, taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water.
So that's what it means to afflict your soul. Get Isaiah 58. When you fast, you are not supposed to taste anything. Okay, so we had definite fasts where we wouldn't eat or drink or nothing would enter our mouths. And we didn't do water fast or intermittent fast. No, we did a real fast according to the Bible, which is nothing wrong with you brothers and sisters that do intermittent fasting. I do it too. But there's times where I need to do a spiritual fast, which requires me to not taste anything, not drink anything, not eat anything from sundown to sundown for a whole day, 24 hours. That's a real fast according to the Most High God. Let's read that. Isaiah 58. You know what I want? Let me see. 58. And give me verse 3. This is what it means to afflict your soul.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore have we fasted, say thee, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul?
He just said it again. He said the same thing. Wherefore have we fasted? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul? Read.
And thou takest no knowledge?
Uh-huh.
Behold, in the day of your fast, ye find pleasure.
You find pleasure when you fast instead of seeking knowledge. Come on.
And exact all your labors.
And do all your pleasure. So anyway, that's how you fast. You seek after the Lord. You don't eat or drink anything. And you read the scriptures. You meditate on the classes. That's what you do. So this is what our forefathers did. And let's read it. Let's go to they also. Let's pull up the picture. Let's jump down. They also
sacrificed the first fruits on high mountains.
Isn't that in Leviticus 23? Sacrifice first fruits. What's another word for first fruits? Pentecost. The Feast of Pentecost. Let's get that. Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23. This is what we were doing on this side of the world. This is what you Indians were doing. Us. That's what we were doing. Let's read it. Leviticus chapter 23, and let's start with verse. There goes tabernacle. There goes memorial blowing of the trumpets. Right. There you go. Let's start. Matter of fact, do me a favor. Read verse 2 real quick, so they understand. That way they don't think I'm making this up.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of the rest, and holy convocation.
And a holy convocation. All right, watch this. Give me a verse. Go to verse 19. Because it says that we sacrifice first fruits. Watch this. Read.
Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice one kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings.
So we were sacrificing. Where did the natives get any understanding of sacrifices? From the Bible. Because the Bible belongs to you. It was just taught wrong by your oppressor. Those that raped, robbed, and murdered you, they made you docile through fake doctrines in the Bible that they wrongfully divided the word of truth. That's what they did. They gave you God so loved the world, and you don't understand that world is talking about the world of Israel. So they sacrifice first fruits. Read. Verse 20.
Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to the Lord for the priest.
And so that's one example. First fruits comes after the Passover. All right, so let's go back. Let's read on down. Let's go back to the link. They also sacrifice first fruits.
They also sacrifice first fruits on high mountains.
Read.
And under shady trees.
Uh-huh.
They had temples.
They had what?
They had temples.
Wow, come on.
And carried a holy ark.
What did they carry?
A holy ark.
Oh no, who are we talking about? Can you go to the first one real quick? Can you go, let's go back one. Let's go back one. This is talking about the Indians in Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, adjoining islands like Puerto Rico, Bahamas, St. Lucia, Grenada. Let's not forget who we talking about here. The Taínos, the natives, the Aztecs, the Mayans. All right, go back. It says that they had temples and carried a holy ark. Read.
They had temples and carried a holy ark before them in time of war.
Uh-huh.
They were also like the 10 tribes.
They were like the who?
The 10 tribes.
Who are the 10 tribes? Because we know that there's 12 tribes in the Bible, but there was a separation between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. So these are the 10 tribes that we read about in 2nd Ezra, and we're going to get to that. But let's see this. What are they talking about? They were like the 10 tribes.
They were also like the 10 tribes, inclined to idol worship.
So we were also serving two masters. 1 minute we were keeping the feast of Pentecost, the Day of Atonement. We were keeping all these biblical laws, but then we were also inclined to idol worship. That's what we were doing. Here's an example. Watch this. I'm going to show you an example of idol worship that we were in the midst of. Hosea chapter 8 and verse 13. Let's get Hosea chapter 8 and verse 13. I don't know if y'all can get it, but I know Apocalypto has a scene where they're sacrificing flesh. Watch this. Read what you got.
The book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 13. They sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of mine offerings and eat it.
That's what we were doing. Who's this talking about? Read verse 8.
The book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 8. Israel is swallowed up.
Meaning we went off. Come on.
Now shall they be among the Gentiles, as a vessel wherein is no pleasure.
You see that? We were going to be a nation that was going to have no pleasure amongst the Gentiles. Why? We were going to be raped, robbed, and murdered. Deuteronomy 28 was going to come to pass. Read.
Verse 9. For they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass, alone by himself.
Come on.
Ephraim hath hired lovers.
What did Ephraim do?
Hired lovers.
What does that mean? We accepted the religions of the Spaniards, Catholicism, Christianity, even though we were raped, robbed, and murdered with those same religions. Today, we still worship them on a block down the street. There's a Christian church. The Christians are the same ones that raped, robbed, and murdered us, the Europeans. You're not going to read in any history book where the Indians practiced Christianity. That came with the European, with the eagle, like the Bible says. So you know it's not right. That's why they don't like a black Jesus, even though the Bible says he had woolly hair and his feet was a burnt bronze, as if it burned in a fire, meaning Christ was very black. They don't like that, or they don't like the truth. The truth is, you're the real Jews. Keep reading. Verse
10. Yea, though they had hired among the nations, now will I gather them. They shall sorrow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Because Ephraim have made many altars to sin. Altars shall be unto him to sin.
You see that? So it says, we made many altars to sin. And altars are going to be made unto him to sin as well. Read.
I have written to him the great things of my law, but they were counted as a strange thing.
You see that? So God gave us counsel in the Bible, in the laws, but we would not hearken. Read.
Verse 13. They sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of my offering and eat it, but the Lord accepteth them not.
So that's what it means that we were inclined to idol worship. We were sacrificing flesh, cannibalism, and killing one another, sacrificing human bodies and babies. That's what we were doing. Go ahead and pull that video up. Here's an example. There's a lot of truth in these movies, and the best movies are because they got it out of the Bible, like the movie The Eternals, where it talks about the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian, the Greek. It takes you throughout all these empires, but funny how all the empires they take you back to is biblical empires. But a lot of y'all that don't know your history and you got a PhD and you got a master's and you think and you still call yourself African American, it goes over your head because you lack the knowledge of God. So you don't see the spiritual war that's going on out here. You don't see the spiritual battle. Let's play that. This right here are the Aztecs and the Mayans. He's an Aztec, he's a Mayan. They would come together, and this is what they would do. They would sacrifice human flesh. This was the altar, also known as pyramids and temples. This is what they would do. And they would sacrifice flesh to their god, which was known as the sun, the god of the sky. They had many gods, many idols. And they were doing this to their own brothers. You see that? Witchcraft. We were involved in witchcraft and voodoo, santeria, brujeria. This is what we were doing. Executing one another, blood toucheth blood. Let's get that. Let's stay in Hosea. We can stay. Hey, pause that real quick. You see, that's a pyramid. Where did these Indians learn how to? Hey, see if you can back it up so you can get a view of that pyramid. Where did these Indians learn anything about a pyramid? Because we were the same slaves that built the pyramids that are in Egypt. We're the same ones. We are those Hebrews. There it is right there. Great pick. That is the same thing we did in Egypt. Read what you got. Hold that right there. Give me, read that. Hosea 8 and read that verse 13 one more time.
The book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 13. They sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of mine offerings and eat it, but the Lord accepteth them not. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins.
Come on.
They shall return to Egypt.
What does it mean they shall return to Egypt? Get that, Exodus 20 and verse 2. And hold Hosea. We're coming right back to that. It says, because we sacrifice flesh, God says he did not accept that. He said that's a sin, and he's going to remember our iniquity, and we were going to return to Egypt. Let's see what Egypt means. Read that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
God says, I am the Lord your God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Israelites. I brought you out of the land of Egypt when I split the Red Sea for you Native Americans, for you Cherokee, for you Navajos, for you Apache. I split the Red Sea for you Tainos, Aztecs, Mayans that are still here today, even though they said you don't exist anymore. No, the Apache are all dead. They don't exist. You're all mixed now. That's a lie. Don't believe the devil. You are still here today. You are the real Jews, but we went back into Egypt. What does Egypt mean in the Bible? The Bible is its own dictionary. Let's see what Egypt means.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So he said we will go back into bondage. They will return into bondage. Egypt, slavery, 1492, the conquest, 1776, and the U.S. Cavalry and Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, the North American Indian Wars. We would go back into bondage because we were committing idolatry. Let's go back. Let's finish that video real quick, and then we're going to go back to the link. So this is what we were doing, man. Are you in Hosea still? Get Hosea 4 and 1. Hosea chapter 4, verse 1, before we go to that. Hey, let's pull, you take that down. Let's put the link back up. Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. This is what we just saw.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land.
There's no knowledge of who you are, no knowledge of God, because you don't even know that you are the real Jews. That's why there's no knowledge of God. You had no idea that your languages derived from the Hebrew language. You had no idea that you were practicing the Feast of Pentecost, the Day of Atonement, that you would cook your food because it was according to the law, that you're practicing circumcision because that's a custom and tradition and a covenant that God gave our forefather Abraham in Genesis, the 17th chapter. You have no idea. You have no knowledge, no understanding. You were taught Christianity. You were taught lies by the devil. You were taught Catholicism. You were taught to worship the spirits and dream chasers and dream catchers and all that. Witchcraft. That's what we were taught by our enemies. Finish reading that. Verse 2, by swearing
and lying and killing and stealing.
Isn't that what they did in Apocalypto? They were killing and stealing. And what was happening? Read.
And committing adultery.
What happened?
They break out.
And what?
And blood toucheth blood.
And blood toucheth blood. Till today, there's no difference. What we were doing back then right there, today the Bloods and the Crips do the same thing with our people. Read verse 17. Jump down to verse 17.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 17.
Watch this.
Ephraim
represents the 10 tribes that we're reading about, because they were the head of the 10 tribes. When you hear about the 10 tribes and it mentions Ephraim in this book, it's talking about all you natives, all you Aztecs, all you Incas. It's talking about all of you. What did we do? Read.
Ephraim is joined to idols.
God says we were inclined to idolatry, to idol worship, as the book mentioned. We were inclined to idol worship. Read.
Let him alone.
It says don't even mess them bad little kids. Hey, you stay away from them. Don't play with them little kids. They bad as hell. God says, he said, I'm going to cut them off. He says we were inclined to idol worship. We're reading that in this book right here. The heathens, the other nations, they know we're the real Jews. Let's go back to the links. Let's see what else we were doing. Pull up the link. Scroll to the next one. What does that say? Read the highlighted area. The learned bishop of Quito. What does it say?
The learned bishop of Quito was convinced that the
Peruvians
were of Jewish origin.
So who were the Peruvians? The Peruvians were the Incas. That's who they were. Give me that Tupac Amaru. Let's show you a famous Peruvian here. Watch Tupac Amaru. Give me that link. It's Tupac Amaru. Can you read that?
Tupac Amaru.
Yes, in case y'all didn't know, he was a revolutionary. He was an Inca. He's from the tribe of Asher. And Nafidi Shakur named her son after a Northern Kingdom brother named Tupac Amaru. Because Tupac's full name was Tupac Amaru Shakur. You can look it up. Read.
Tupac Amaru, 1545-24 to September 1572, was the last monarch, Sapa Inca, of the Neo-Inca state, the remnants of the Inca Empire in
Vilcabamba,
Peru.
Go ahead.
He was executed by the Spanish following a months-long pursuit after the fall of the last stronghold of the Neo-Inca state.
That's Tupac Amaru. Now let's see how he was executed. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, and let's read verse 48. Go to his execution right there. Drop down that right there. All right, scroll. Go to that picture now and click on it. Let's enlarge in the picture. Read that. Zoom in if you can. Yes, sir.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48.
Matter of fact, start with verse 49, because as you can see, those are conquistadors, the Spaniards that came over here and took our chiefs, our caciques, our leaders, our kings, and they took them captive. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
And what did they bring? They brought the cross, what they call the cross, which represents Christianity. And they said, we baptize you in the name of Jesus. And then they beheaded us. And then they killed us. And then they lynched us, hanged us, all in the name of their white Jesus. And today you follow after Christianity. Keep reading.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
You see that? This was that nation. Watch this. Read verse 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
The Lord sent these evil bastards to this part of the world. Why? Because we were inclined to idolatry. We were inclined to idol worship. Just like we are today, still serving the spirit worlds, serving the moon and the creation instead of the creator. Read.
In hunger.
In hunger.
And in thirst.
Come on.
And in nakedness.
This is what happened. We ended up serving these bastards once they came over here. And what did they do? Read.
And in want of all things.
Come on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron.
Now, what are they dragging him with? Look at what he has in his hand. They're walking him like a dog. What does he have around his neck? What does he have around? Zoom in on that picture. Let's see. For some of y'all that can't see, put your glasses on. This didn't only happen to the southern kingdom. This also happened to the northern kingdom. We were walked like dogs to our execution. And here's a great example of that. And he shall what? Read that in the Bible again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon our neck. We had yokes of iron on our neck. This is Tupac Amaru from the tribe of Asher. Let's drop that. Let's go back to the link. Let's go back to the link. This is what they did to the caciques because they knew we were the real Jews. The Incas, the Mayans, the Peruvians. The Peruvians come from the Incas. Go to the next link. How we looking, y'all? How we looking, IT? Go to the next link. Next one. Next. Keep going. That was it? Oh, that was it? Oh, hold on. I got one for you. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to take a picture of it right now. I want you to see this. All right. Pull that one up real quick. I just dropped it. This is also in the book, Christopher Columbus, Participation of the Jews and of the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries. This is what they left out in Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving. This is what they left out when the Pilgrims and the Pilgrims understood that the Indians were actually the real Jews. They understood that. Go ahead, pull that up real quick. We got it? All right. Let's get 2nd Esdras real quick. Or give me 1 Corinthians 3:16. And then we're also going to get 2nd Esdras 13. We're going to talk about the greatest migration that ever took place that no one talks about, that they took out of the history books. The greatest history book, the Bible. Can we get that link up there? Yeah, I'm waiting on y'all. I'm waiting on y'all. There we go. All right, can you read that, please?
On Friday, November.
Zoom in some. November 28th or 24th, Luis de Torres
And his companion began their journey into the unknown land.
Now, Luis de Torres was a Hebrew interpreter for who? For Christopher Columbus. Okay? And we're going to read about that. Go ahead.
And his companion began their journey into the unknown land and returned to Columbus on the 6th. They reported that after traveling 60 miles, they came to a place with 50 huts and with a population of about 1,000 persons. Here they found men and women with fire in their hands.
They had what?
With fire in their hands.
Come on.
With which they lit one end of a small roll.
They lit one end of a small roll.
Held in the mouth.
Come on.
It resembled dried leaves. And was called tobacco.
What was it called?
Tobacco.
So they was getting high. This is what they was doing to be spiritual. But God says, this is how you defile your temple. Finish that off.
They inhaled the other end of the little roll and blew forth great clouds of smoke through the mouth and nose.
Now, what did God say? Because this tobacco is a herb, right? Let's get that in Psalms 104. Well, go ahead, if you got 1 Corinthians, read that real quick. Yeah, 3:16.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 16.
Watch this.
Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
Know ye not that you are the temple of God? Read.
And that the Spirit of God.
You know what's crazy? Our people did not know they were the temple of God. Or you forgot that you're the temple of God, meaning an Israelite. You forgot you're a Jew. Read.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
Come on.
If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
You see that? You defile your temple when you smoking. They knew that. Why did you think these Jewish people, these white people were saying that they were inclined to idolatry and idol worship? This is a form of idolatry and witchcraft. Smoking. Let's get that in Psalms 104 now. What did he make tobacco for? What did he make marijuana for? What did he create these herbs for? Was it to smoke? Because some people use that excuse. Well, you know, it's from the earth and God made everything from the earth as medicine. No. Do not try to justify your wickedness when that's not what God said. This is what God said about those herbs. Read that.
Psalm chapter 104, verse 14. He causes the grass to grow.
He causeth the grass to grow. This is God. Read.
For the cattle. An herb for the service of man.
And what does he do?
An herb for the service of man.
You hear that? Herb is for the service of man, meaning that it's medicine. Okay? What kind of medicine? Read.
That he may bring forth food.
No, he may bring forth cigarettes.
That he may bring forth food.
No, he could bring forth black and milds and blunts.
That he may bring forth food.
He may bring forth food. Read.
Out of the earth.
Out of the earth. What's the first thing you do when you try to smoke one of these herbs? What do? First thing you do is your body rejects it because you start to cough your lungs out. You start to cough your brains out because your body's automatically telling you this doesn't belong in my system. It doesn't belong in you. If you got a prescription, then that's between you and the doctor. Then we understand. You may have the Lord's grace there. But for you niggas that only want to get high, no, God ain't with that. God says you're defiling your temple. All right? Let's get that in 1 Peter 5:8. God says you're not supposed to be getting high. Why? Because you're not alert. You're not vigilant. God requires us, it's a commandment that we remain sober at all times. Read what you got.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober.
Be sober. Be sober. The Bible ain't about good advice. The Bible is a book of the law, meaning it's a command. You are commanded. It's not optional. Read.
Be sober. Be vigilant.
Can you be vigilant if you're not sober? Absolutely not. That's the reason when you get intoxicated with alcohol, what happens? Fatalities, drunk driving and so forth, where you kill a little child crossing the street because you said, oh, I'm good. I know how to handle my liquor. No, you're not sober and your instincts are not there. You're not vigilant. You're not alert. Because you're not sober. You're not keeping God's laws. Read.
Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
So we were inclined to idol worship. So now these devils came and They devoured us as a nation. That's what happened. Let's go back to the links that I just dropped. Let's read that. All righty, there it is. There were several men of Jewish stock. For example, Luis de Torres, who had occupied a position under the governor of Murcia and who was baptized shortly before Columbus sailed. Read that last part.
As he understood Hebrew.
What did Luis de Torres do?
As he understood Hebrew.
Come on.
Chaldee. And some Arabic.
What did Columbus do?
Columbus employed him as interpreter.
Why would he employ this man as an interpreter in 1492? Why would you give him a job? If the Indians are saying unga boonga and woo, if that's all they doing, why would you bring a Hebrew interpreter to this side of the earth? Because he knew we're the real Jews. Watch this. Let's get 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 40. Drop that link. 2 Ezra chapter 13 and read verse 40.
The book of 2 Ezra chapter 13 verse 40.
Come on.
Those are the 10 tribes.
Didn't we read about that in the book? Come on.
Which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land.
So this is talking about the so-called Hispanic, Latinos, and natives, which are known as the indigenous of the Western Hemisphere. Read.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
That's something we don't do today. The Native Americans, we only unite in powwows, but we don't ask, hey, where are the Aztecs? Where are the Incas? Where are the Mayans? Where are the Taínos? We're all indigenous here. We all need to come together. And not only are we indigenous, but we're indigenous to Jerusalem before we were ever indigenous to the Americas. We were indigenous to the land of Israel before we were ever indigenous to America. And that's what we're reading right here. We came into this land, America, and we left our motherland. Read.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
That is America today, and we're going to prove it. Read.
Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Come on.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
Come on.
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Azariah.
What's that region called that we moved to that took us a year and a half to get there? What's it called?
Azariah.
Azariah. Let's get that in the Jewish Encyclopedia. Let's put it up. There you go. Let's read that.
Azariah by Morris J. Stroh Jr.
Now, when you read above, it says JewishEncyclopedia.com, the unedited full text of the 1906 Jewish Encyclopedia. This thing is over 100 years old right here, this information. This information is over 100 years old. Let's read it. And it's also by our friendly neighborhood white man, Jewish people, Kaufman, Kohler. These are scholars of that time. Read what it says.
The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration.
Meaning that's happening. A lot of Native Americans are being restored to their true identity. They understand they're from the tribe of Gad in the Bible. A lot of so-called Hispanics are realizing they're from the tribe of Simeon and Ephraim and Manasseh. We're not Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Cubans. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. We're being restored here in these last days. What is it? And it says according to what?
According to Esdras.
The 13th chapter.
13th chapter.
45th verse.
45th verse.
Well, we read about Azariah. Come on.
Columbus identified America with this land.
What? Columbus did what?
Identified America with this land.
Man, that need a bomb right there, man. That's a bomb because we were never taught this in our schools. We were never taught this great migration of the 10 tribes. You're talking about millions and millions and millions of people that were migrating from one land to a whole nother part of the earth that had never been inhabited. But nobody knows about this history. Because if they teach us this history, we're going to realize that we're not indigenous to America, but we are indigenous to Israel and Jerusalem. We are the 12 tribes of Israel. What's that static? What was that static? Let me get the link. Watch this. They even put it in the movies. Let's get 1492. Let's get the one with Columbus. And we're going to go into the atrocities also. What? Let's get that. Put that 1492 up. Okay, go ahead.
You will be heard at the University
Put the volume up.
of Salamanca.
God, that's in a week.
That's what it says.
How did you manage it?
With some difficulty. I had to promise them you were not a total fool.
So this is Christopher Columbus, and he's seeking help because he understood the Bible. This demon right here, he had knowledge of the scriptures.
Marco Polo said he found earthly paradise off the coast of China. Do you believe this?
I believe in paradise and hell, and I do believe that both can be earthly. Now, let's go through this again. Why do you wish to sail west?
Why do you want to go to the
Open a
Western
new
Hemisphere?
Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Because they believed in a flat earth as well. But Columbus knew that was not true. This was a smart demon.
Superstition. I
Superstition.
believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
Esdras is his Jew. All right, stop. So he mentioned the calculation of Toscanes, and he said Esdras. What did he read? 2nd Esdras chapter 13. That's what he was reading, what we just went over. Columbus identified America with this land, and they knew it in the movies. They knew about it. He knew where he was going. That's why he took an army with him. That's why he took a Hebrew interpreter named Louis de Torres with him. The things that they leave out in your school systems. But they put it right in the movies. 1492, the calculations of Esdras. They put it right in our face, man. And this is what they did when they got here. Give me Psalms 55, verse 20. This is what they did. Because when they came to this side of the earth, what did they do? They raped, robbed, and murdered. But at first, they were supposed to be at peace with us. When you see the movie, they're playing around with them when they all first get here. And then eventually the movie goes left, takes a hard left. You start seeing our wives getting raped. You start seeing the chiefs getting their hands cut off, getting hung, burnt alive at the stake. The movie takes a hard left. Read what you got.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
He hath broken his covenant. How many peace treaties did the Native American Indians do with the white man? How many peace treaties did the Seminoles conduct with the white man? For you Seminoles, Seminole means what? Fugitive. That's what the word Seminole means. Okay? Seminole means fugitive. So if you're Seminole Indian, what's Indian mean? Slave, servant. You're literally calling yourself a runaway slave, a fugitive servant. That's what you call yourself. God says, when they came over here, we made treaties with them, and they never kept their end of the bargain. Read it again.
Verse 20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
Come on.
He had broken his covenant.
Come on.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Just like they are today, man. Oh, come on and get blessed. Come on and let the eagle. We got a video where we got them in their powwows. They're parading the eagle around the ceremonial dance that Gad does, that the natives do. And they're parading this eagle as a slap in the face to us, as a victory of what they've done to us. And we allow them to be amongst us. Why? Because he's still massa in our minds. Because we can't conduct the powwow without the white man's signing off on it. We gotta leave the multitude of the heathen like we once did in 2 Ezra 13. Read.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
War was in his heart. Andrew Jackson, the U.S. Cavalry. War was in his heart. Meaning them treaties, all that smooth butter, that stuff he was talking, it's false. War is in his heart. He's watching you natives closely to make sure you don't ever call yourself an Israelite. You never come to the understanding that you're a real Jew, that you're from the tribe of Gad, of the lost 12 tribes of Israel. Read.
His words were softer than oil.
Wow. Come on.
Yet were they drawn swords.
Yet were they drawn swords. Give me 2 Ezra right here. I already got you. 11 and verse 42. Read that.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 11, verse 42. For thou hast afflicted the meek. Thou hast hurt the peaceable.
You hear that? That's what God says. What did they do? They afflicted the meek and the peaceable. When they first landed over here in 1492, who did they first encounter? The so-called Haitians and the Tainos, right? What does Taino mean? Taino Indian, Taino means peaceable one. That's what Taino means, peaceable one. What did God say here? Read it again.
For thou hast afflicted the meek. Thou hast hurt the peaceable.
Thou hast hurt the peaceable, the Taino Indians, which are from the tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, Levi, because even a lot of Levi will call themselves Ha-Taino, Haitiano. Same thing, Taino. We were all peaceable. Read.
Thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm.
You see that? They casted down our walls. They casted down our history. They casted down our heritage. We did no harm to them. We was at peace with them. But God says war was in their hearts. Read.
Verse 43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled.
His abominations, meaning the curses and all the destruction that they came to do, they fulfilled all of that. Alligator bait, throwing us over the slave ships. What else did they do? Cutting our heads off, lynching us, burning us at the stake. All of this guess what? It was fulfilled. Read.
Verse 45. And therefore appeared no more, thou eagle.
What did it say? Appear what?
No more, thou eagle.
God says, appear no more, thou eagle. You came to do what you wanted to do. But guess what? They're going to pay for the injustices and the crimes that they committed against the Native American Indians, the tribe of Gad. Our brothers. That's why we go to the powwows, to support them and to show them you're not just an Indian, meaning servant or slave. That's what Indian means. You're from the tribes of Israel. You are a real Jew. And they know that, and they destroyed our heritage. Give me Jeremiah 17 and 4. Hey, give me that link, Wounded Knee. Give me that on Wounded Knee. Give me that link. Transition it once you're ready. Read Jeremiah 17.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage.
This was prophecy, man. The Bible is a book of prophecy, and it's 100% spot on. I'm gonna tell you right now, the Bible is batting 1,000. The Bible is batting 1,000, and it ain't going nowhere. I can't find no flaws in this Bible. Everybody says the Bible contradicts itself because it says one thing over here, then it sounds like the opposite. I used to say the same thing. I used to think the Bible was contradicting itself too, till I got the true understanding. And I realized, oh, okay, I can see why people think it's contradicting itself. But now that I understand, it's definitely not contradicting itself. There's a misunderstanding. It was the way Christianity taught you. Catholicism, your oppressors. Let's play that video, man. I like this video. This Geronimo, one of the revolutionaries. Geronimo of the mighty tribe of Gad. This brother was no joke, man.
And I lay dying. And in my death, I saw the heavens of the white robes. Yes, it is as they describe it. But also there, my children, all the Indians that ever roamed this earth, all your beloved ancestors and mine, and those young ones who were taken by the white man's diseases.
Stop. Pause it. Because it was the polio diseases also. That's what Thanksgiving goes into. The turkey is the Indian, okay? The stuffing is the polio. The cranberry sauces are guts and blood. All of those things are symbolic to the destruction that we went through. That's what Thanksgiving represents. I'm going to say it one more time. The turkey is the body of the Indian. The polio represents what we call the food stuffing is what represents the polio, the sicknesses, and those polio blankets that they gave us. They gave us boils, and we died from those illnesses and diseases. The cranberry sauce represents our bloods and guts spilling out. All of that is symbolic to what they did to us. All right, let's play it.
And mine, and those young ones who were taken by the white man's diseases. Do not grieve for them. They want you to know that they are happy. Yes. And you should not grieve for yourselves, because here is what the white robes did not tell you. The white man, my children,
look at what it says,
will soon be no more.
Woo! Hey, run that back. Run that back. Run that back. Play that again.
My children will soon.
No. Run it back a little bit more. A little bit more. Come on. Right there.
The white man, my children, will soon be no more.
Whoa. Pause. What does that mean? Give me Obadiah. This man just said, this Geronimo, he just uttered in this movie, which he probably understood also, that the white man will soon be no more. Is that true? First of all, who is the white man? The Bible calls him red. When you read Genesis 25 and verse 25, he came out red and hairy, all over like a hairy garment. Esau, Edom. That is the so-called white man in the Bible. If you think it's if you think we're spewing hate, go look up a Bible dictionary. Go look up a Bible encyclopedia. It's going to say Esau, Edom, known as the Greeks and the Romans. So if you think that's us, you go look up a Bible encyclopedia and let the white man tell you who he is. But that's what we know. Get Obadiah 1:1. Watch this. The white man will soon be no more. Read what you got.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 1.
Come on.
The visions of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen.
You hear that? So God says this is the vision of Obadiah to Edom. What is it? What does Edom do? Give me verse 4.
Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
What does Edom do?
Exalt thyself as the eagle.
Come get blessed. They were saying at the powwow, come to the eagle, come get blessed. This is our brother. Our brother's here, the eagle. What a beautiful bird. This is what they were saying. Though they exalt themselves as the eagle in their money, their currency, their flags, their paperwork. They put the eagle on your passport, your driver's licenses. They let you know who they represent. Edom is the so-called white man. The Chinese ain't doing that. The East Indians, the Arabs ain't doing that. There's only one nation of people. The Greeks, Romans, Spaniards, they're all Caucasians. Greek Caucasian, Spanish Caucasian, Italian Caucasian, French Caucasian, American Caucasians. The same nations that came over here, raped, robbed, and murdered us, and now we speak Portuguese, English, Dutch, Spanish, French, Creole. Now we speak their languages. God says that Edomite that exalts himself as the eagle, what does God say? Read.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
They're doing satellite travel. They're going up into space. Read.
Thence will I bring thee down.
1969, they landed on the moon. And what was the first thing that came out of their mouth? The eagle has landed. 1969. They're doing space travel. And what's the first thing they said when they landed on the moon? The eagle has landed. Give me verse 18. This is what Geronimo, our forefather, the mighty tribes of Israel, the tribe of Gad, this is what he was talking about. Read what you got.
Verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble.
The house of who?
Esau for stubble.
America's going to become stubble. America's going to become stubble with nuclear destruction and war. What's going to happen? Read.
And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau.
What did it say? There shall what?
And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it.
For the Lord hath spoken it. The Lord hath spoken it. There shall not be any remaining of the entire house of Esau. Who's the house of Esau? The Edomites. The so-called white man shall soon be no more. Let's play the video. Play it again. I love that part, man. That thing make my teeth white.
Will soon be no more children.
That's it. That's good.
The white man,
We're going to keep playing. Let it keep playing.
my children, will soon be no more.
Damn. Yeah, that's something to rejoice about. Let them laugh. That's right. That's right. Man, hey, stop, man. I'm telling you, when I was at the powwow, this brother was talking to me and tears came to his eyes almost, bro. His eyes got so watery as he was talking about the destruction. He had to stop for a second to hold back the emotion. Because, I mean, this just happened. The Native Americans, the North American Indian Wars were in the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't long ago. It was just over only 100 years ago. That's a few generations ago. People act like, oh, you know, oh, get over it. But you tell us we got to remember 9/11. But we got to get over the destruction and everything that happened to us. No, we'll never forget about Geronimo. We'll never forget about Red Cloud and Chief Joseph and our forefathers in the Bible that were revolutionaries. We're not going to forget about these men. Keep playing the video.
Now you must not hate the white man.
Stop. He said, now you must not hate the white man. Let's get that in Romans. You must not hate the white man. Watch this.
The book of Romans, chapter
12.
Chapter 12, verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you.
If it be possible, because we know the atrocities that they did for us, to us. We know about how they set up Thanksgiving as a slap in the face to represent their victory over us, to represent their the destruction that they did to our ancestors. That's what Thanksgiving is all about. The victory that they had. Now they own our land. Now they own our cattle. Now they own us. Now we're subservient. Now we're on destitute and desolate reservations and ghettos and projects and slums and traps and out full of alcoholism and drugs. And now they celebrate Thanksgiving because they won the war against the children of God, the Israelites, the so-called natives. Read that.
Verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
You heard Geronimo just said the same thing. He said, now you must not hate the white man. I want you to hear what he says after that. Run it back real quick so he says it again. I want you to hear the whole thing. Watch.
Now you must not hate the white man. This will only delay his end.
Damn, stop. He said, you must not hate the white man. This is only going to delay his end. Hey, that's the problem with our brothers, man. They got all that revolutionary energy when a white man kills them, but when we killing each other, there's no hate in the sin that we're in. There's no accountability amongst our own nation. You know what I'm saying? We must not hate the white man. God says, live peaceably amongst all men. But understand, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Understand that. Don't hate the white man. Don't hate because at the end of the day, the reason why we fell, the reason why we lost our land, the reason why we lost our heritage and our nationality is because of us. Watch this. Hold that, because we're coming back. Give me Hosea chapter 13 and verse 9. This is the reason why we don't need to hate the white man. God only uses him to spank our behinds and wake us up, to afflict us so that we return back to our Creator and stop worshiping the creation like dream catchers, like the spirits, like Mother Earth. No, God is the Creator. He's the one and only true God, and he's a black man. Read what you got.
The book of Hosea, chapter 13, verse 9.
Come on.
O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself.
What did he say?
O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself.
We destroyed ourselves. That's why you ain't got to hate the white man. We need to hate our sin. That's what we need to hate. We need to hate the sin that we're in, the ignorance that we're in, and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of God and the faith in Christ, the black Messiah, his son, so that we don't delay the white man's end. That way we make the time short when we gather together as a nation not desired. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're the 12 tribes of Israel. Go to 14 and verse 1.
The book of Hosea, chapter 14, verse 1.
Come on.
O Israel, return unto the Lord thy God, for thou hast fallen by thine iniquity.
We have fallen by our iniquity. We were smoking. We were doing a lot of sacrificing flesh. That's why God sent this other nation, as he said he would in Deuteronomy 28. He told Moses this years ago. He was like, you know them Native Americans, them Apaches and them Cherokees, them Tainos and Mayans and all them? He said, I'm going to send another nation from the end of the earth that represents the eagle, a tongue that they don't understand, a language. This is going to be a whole different nation. And they shall not regard the young nor the old. They're going to kill and slaughter them. Why? Because they don't want to fear me and serve me. They don't want to keep the commandments. Let them know this is what I'm going to do to them in the last days. And with all that, they still not going to return to me. They still going to be hard-headed. They still going to keep serving Mother God, and they still going to want to be best friends and interracially marrying with the so-called white man and so forth. Even after he's destroyed you and raped, robbed, and murdered and took your land and everything from you. You're still not going to hearken to God. Don't you understand who you are? Don't you understand the God of this Bible? Where are we at?
14 and 2.
No, let's go back. Where were we before that? Romans 18. Play the video again. Let's finish this video. We got about
This will
5
only
minutes.
delay his end.
So this is going to delay his end when you hate him. Go ahead.
But if you will do the dance,
You know, I find it real odd.
I will teach
He said, if you do the dance that I will teach you. Watch. Go ahead, play it.
you, will do the dance that I will teach you.
Uh-huh.
All the ancestors will return.
Stop. Think about that. He just said, when I teach you to do the dance, all the ancestors will return. Who are the ancestors or family members of the Gadites? The Reubenites, the Ephraimites, the Judites, the Benjamites. When do we go and return to the tribe of Gad? When do we go to them? We go to them during powwows. And what are they doing at these powwows? They're dancing. That's crazy. He says, but if you will do the dance, all the ancestors will return. They go and they dance, and that's where we go do the flyer missions. That's where we go and try to teach them who they are. Yo, Geronimo was cold-blooded, bro. Geronimo was cold-blooded. All right, 8:52. Let's get a couple more scriptures. Give me Acts chapter 3, verse 19. We won't go into the look. You so-called, matter of fact, get Colossians 2 and 8 for this Thanksgiving garbage. What's the title again? It says a knife in a turkey and a knife in your back, because that's exactly what came to pass. Read what you got. Chapter 2 and verse 8.
The book of Colossians chapter 2 verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
It says beware, be alert. Don't be smoking. You can't be aware and be alert. Of philosophy, meaning theology, Christianity, religions, and vain deceit. Like what? Oh, Thanksgiving is just for the family. It's just for the children. It's just for the children. No, it's not. It's a slap in the face. It's offensive. It's racist. And just because a lot of you indigenous, like you Tainos, Puerto Ricans, like you indigenous Cubans, indigenous Mexicans, indigenous Central Americans, Guatemalans, Aztecs, natives, First Nations, whatever you want to call it. Just because y'all want to celebrate it with the white man doesn't mean that we're not offended. Because we know why. We know the root of why they celebrate Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is not for the children. It's not for the family. It is a reminder of our destruction and our demise by the hands of the Edomites, who you know as the so-called white man. Finish reading that.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Come on.
After the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world,
And not
after Christ.
Thanksgiving is not after Christ. Show me in the Bible where Christ was keeping Thanksgiving. Show me where he was cooking a turkey and making stuffing with cranberry sauce. And show me where he was doing that. It's not in the Bible. He kept the Feast of Dedication. He kept Hanukkah. He kept the Passover. You Indians he kept Pentecost. And at one point you kept Pentecost, a.k.a. the first fruits. At one point we all kept that. What happened? Why don't we keep these ceremonies anymore? Why did we all of a sudden start going off into idolatry? Why did idolatry worsen after the Spaniards got here? After the English and the French and the Portuguese made it over here to this side of the world? to destroy us because we forgot the law, statutes, and commandments of God. And then they gave us a white Jesus. Get Song of Solomon 1:5, man. Let me just show you. Color is in the Bible, man. Everybody think what a white man, everything you reading in that book, a white man wrote. Let's see if that's true. Because you got some simple-minded people that don't know the Bible, but yet they got the pride and audacity to speak as if they read this book. Read what you got.
The book of the Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5.
Come on.
I am black.
What did Solomon say?
I am black.
But a white man wrote that Bible.
I am black.
And what?
But comely.
He said, I'm a blank, handsome man. What are you talking about? The white man wrote that Bible. You don't understand this Bible. Give verse 6. He's going to say it again.
Verse 6. Look not upon me, because I am black.
Look not upon me, because I am black. Why was Solomon black? Read.
Because the sun hath looked upon me.
What happens when you're in the sun for long periods of time, Soldier Nathan?
You get dark.
You get dark. You get dark, and you get darker. So the white man did not write this Bible. Matter of fact, Jesus Christ, I'm going to end it with this one, Revelations 1:14. We need to repent and come back to God's laws and faith in the real Christ, not that false white image of Christ that they told you was Jesus and then told you color didn't matter. They whitewashed your history and then told you color didn't matter. That's a red flag, man. That's a big-time red flag. You natives, you guys are just like Adam. You're brown. You're black like Adam was. You're made from the dust of the ground, different shades of brown. We were made like our forefathers Adam, Noah, Shem, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so forth. They were all brown like unto the ground. Not like Esau, who was red in Genesis chapter 25. They call themselves redheads, rednecks. They know who they are. Read what you got.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 14.
Come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Who has woolly hair? You get wool from what? From a sheep. That's where you get wool from. Give me verse 1 to see who this is talking about.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So we are revealing. Revelation means to reveal. The revelation of Jesus Christ. We are revealing Jesus Christ in the Bible. Verse 14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
I got to bring this out because at the powwows, you'll see a bunch of paintings and everything with this white image of Jesus Christ. That white image, they used the name, look up Cesar Borgia. That's who they used as a depiction to paint the new image of Jesus Christ. It happened during the Renaissance era in the 1400s, right before the conquest, right before Christopher Columbus came over here. It was all by design. So, but the Bible says, contrary to popular belief in his shaggy hair, in the Bible he had woolly afro-like hair. Read verse 15.
Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass.
Brass is the color of brown, a derivative of brown. So his feet were the color of brass, not red, not white. This is Jesus Christ. Keep reading.
As if they burned in a furnace.
As if they burned in a furnace. So they were dark black feet. Okay, so with that, Israel, Christ is a black man. You natives, you so-called indigenous, you're indigenous to Jerusalem and Israel. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. We need to come back to the Father and keep his commandments and come out of these worldly traditions that they taught us, all right? Make sure you download IUIC TV. Donate to the Booster Club, all right? Stay tuned for Patient Saints. I'm Officer Halez.
Soldier Nathan.
IUIC Austin, subscribe to our channel. IUIC Austin, YouTube. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana. Sierra Leone, 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.